Hello there, boys and girls, and welcome to another grammar review lesson with me, Teacher Donald. And in this grammar review lesson, we'll be looking at material in Unit 4 of our Grammar Goals book. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now, let's compare a dog and a cheetah. And I want you to compare them using the adjective fast. So, how would we do that? We can't just say a dog is fast a cheetah or a cheetah is fast a dog. We have to compare them, and when we do that, we have to add ER. So the answer would look like this. A cheetah is faster than a dog. Now I want you to try this one. Let's compare a rabbit and a turtle. Using the adjective slow. Can you say an answer out loud? How would you compare a rabbit and a turtle using the adjective slow? Okay, I hope you said something like this. A turtle is slower than a rabbit. So when we're comparing these two, we have to add ER to our adjective slow. And we also have to use than, THAN. A turtle is slower than a rabbit. Let's try another one. Can you compare a bus and a car using the adjective big? How would you do that? Say your answer out loud. Now you should say something like this. A bus is bigger than a car. Now be careful when you're adding ER to big, you have to double the G. Otherwise it sounds like biger. A bus is bigger than a car? No, we have to double the G and then it becomes a bus is bigger than a car. Now can you compare an ant and a beetle using the adjective small? Go ahead and say an answer out loud. And you should say something like this. An ant is smaller than a beetle. Most of the time, I think. So remember, when we have adjectives like old and we want to compare two things, so we have to add ER, R, or IER, old, we just add ER. So old becomes older than. Like Teacher Donald is older than you. Big, it's a little bit tricky because we have to double the G and then we can add ER. So we can say bigger. An elephant is bigger than a cow. Now cute already has an E, so this time we just have to add an R. Like a rabbit is cuter than a cat. I don't like cats. And if we have an adjective like heavy, now heavy ends in a Y, so this becomes tricky. We have to get rid of the Y and then add IER. So we can say a pig is heavier than a dog. So be careful when you're adding ER, R, or IER. Now let's play a game, 2 clues. I'll give you 2 clues and you try and tell me the animal. And some of these are not easy. But the answer will be animals you might see on a farm. So listen carefully and try and guess the animal. And it will be a farm animal. So here's your first clue. It is bigger than an ant. And your second clue. It is smaller than a rabbit. So this is an animal you might see on a farm. Do you know the answer? It is bigger than an ant. It is smaller than a rabbit. And it is a mouse. Now you see a lot of mice on a farm, but the farmers don't like them. They eat all the seeds. Let's try another one. It is faster than a dog. It is slower than a cheetah. Do you know the answer? It's a farm animal. And it is a horse. If you said horse, good job. Now let's try and guess another farm animal. It is lighter than a hippo. Lighter just means it's not as heavy. And it is heavier than a horse. That's pretty heavy. Do you know the answer? I think you do. It's a cow. Good job. Oop, here comes another one. It is smaller than a goat, and it is heavier than a goat. The answer is a pig. You guessed it. Goats can be quite tall, but pigs are definitely heavier. Good job. Now, let's look at superlative forms. Superlative forms are what we use when something is kind of like the number one. So instead of comparing two things, we're saying this thing will be a number one in a group. So we have this group, a dog, a cheetah, and a horse. Can you tell me which one would be the fastest? So using our adjective fast, which one is the number one? And we should say, a cheetah is the fastest. Did you say cheetah? Good job. Now let's look at this group. We have a turtle, a sloth, and a snail. Can you use the superlative form of slow? So if they had a race, which one would be last? And you can say, a snail is the slowest. Maybe just because it's so small. Now look at this group. We have an elephant, a rhino, and a cow. And using the adjective big, which one would be the number one big? Say a full sentence. We should say an elephant is the biggest. Did you say elephant? Good job. Now look at this group. We have a dog, a squirrel, and an ant. And using our adjective small, what can you say about this group? Which one would be the number one small one? The answer would be an ant is the smallest, and we add est when something is the most. So how do we add est, st, or iest? Well, we have our adjective old, and if we're comparing two things, that's older. But when we're saying something is the number one of a group, we add the est, oldest. So you could say Teacher Donald is the oldest teacher in the world. And we just add est. Now our adjective big, when we're comparing two things, it's bigger. But if something is the number one big one, we say it is the biggest. But be careful, we need to double that G. So B-I-G and another G, and then you can add the est. Our adjective cute, when we're comparing two things, we just add the R, cuter. But if something is the, well, we don't say most cute, but the number one cute in a group, we would say the cutest. But because cute already has the E, we're just adding st to make cutest. And with our adjective heavy, which ends in a Y, when we're comparing two things, something is heavier than something else. But if something is the heaviest, we have to get rid of the Y and then add IEST. So Teacher Donald is the heaviest teacher in the world? I hope not. Now let's play one clue. I'll give you one clue using the superlative form, and you have to try and tell me an answer. And for this activity, the animals these are all animals you might see in the ocean. So that will be your answer, an animal you might see in the ocean. So here's your first clue. It is the biggest animal in the ocean. Do you know the answer? It's a whale. How about this one? It is the fastest animal in the ocean. I'm not sure if you'll know this one. It's a tricky one. That is a sailfish, not a sailboat. It's a sailfish. And it is the fastest animal in the ocean. How about this one? It is the slowest animal in the ocean. It's not an octopus. It is the slowest animal in the ocean. Do you know what it is? It is a starfish. A starfish is the slowest animal in the ocean. How about this one? It is the scariest animal in the ocean. I think you know this one. It's a shark. Good job. Now, remember, if we're just talking about one thing, we can say a cow is big. That is true. Now, if we're comparing two things, we could say a rhino is bigger than a cow. So if we're comparing two things, we have to add ER to our adjective. And if something is the number one thing in the world, we have to add EST. An elephant is the biggest on land, that is. So a cow is big, a rhino is bigger than a cow, but an elephant is the biggest animal on land. Okay, that's it for this grammar review lesson. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.